It's an absolutely wild day in the world of cardboard rectangles. Wonders of the First has just dropped on the scene like an atomic bomb. And it's games like this that are a big problem for Magic the Gathering.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for something a little different. Today, we're going to be doing a case study in new card games and what they mean for Magic the Gathering. Spoiler, they mean trouble. So, this case study is going to center around Wonders of the First, which is a game that just officially launched in the last 2 weeks. They brought me out to check out their game, and normally I would not travel all the way to South Carolina, 16-hour drive to go to the beautiful city of Columbia. Honestly, the weather there was absolutely gorgeous. When we got back to the Canadian border, right when we got there, it started to snow, and I'm like, oh no, I want to go back to the warmth. But anyways, I wouldn't normally travel this distance just to check out a new card game, but they had quite the carrot to dangle to get me down there, and that would be Brian Tinsman, who, if you didn't know, has had a huge hand in crafting Magic the Gathering. He is responsible for not just helping to design multiple Magic sets, but leading to the design on some big and well-known Magic sets. I'm going to actually put the list up on the screen for you right here. Tinsman is responsible for mechanics like let's say Annihilator, Storm, some really big things that you know that have a huge impact on the game. The man is a bit of a risk taker. In fact, when we sat down to dinner, we were arguing about the balancing mechanics of Magic, and we had some different viewpoints. And it's pretty wild to actually be able to sit down and discuss that with somebody who had a hand in crafting my favorite game, right? Magic the Gathering is still my favorite game, but Wonders of the First has moved right up the ranks in terms of becoming one of my new favorite games because it's absolutely a lot of fun to play. Tinsman is the lead designer on it. He has crafted the game and he's put together something genuinely worthwhile. The concept behind it is you battle across 7 realms, but each realm opens up turn by turn. So you don't have to sit there and figure out where you're going to go at first. You start in one little area, just slugging it out, and then the game progressively gets more insane to the point where you have 7 different realms, and you're looking there going, okay, where do I make my moves? What do I do? It's very straightforward in terms of you just have to collect up the most stones by battling through the different realms. Whoever has the most at the end of 7 turns wins. The 7-turn format works quite well in terms of guaranteeing you an actual game. One of the areas where Magic is failing right now is with crazy power creep. So you end up with a situation, especially in places like Arena, where you go, okay, so I just lost on the 2nd turn. You just blew me out of the gates with this crazy mono red insanity, monstrous rage, anybody? And you've just been smacking me down, right? So ultimately, even if you're still in the game, it can feel like a game of Magic is decided by turn 3, turn 4. You can sit down, shuffle up, and then just go, okay, what happened? The game's over, right? With Wonders of the First, you're guaranteed to get to play through the entire game, and your decisions will have a genuine impact later on. I've played games where I straight up thought I had this in the bag. Okay, check it out. I've got 6 out of the 7 stones. There's no way my opponent can win. And then at the end of the game, I'm going, how did I lose? I mean, I watched it happen, but how did I lose? This game has not just hooked me, the people that I traveled with. My friend who drove me down there is the inventor of Double Strike. And when we headed down, he said, okay, when we're done at this event, I'm just going to give you the cards because I've got enough card games. I don't really need to get into anything else. Before the weekend even ended, he was saying, okay, so look, I've got all these cards. I'm going to build extra decks for my friends. And then there was a certain point where he's dead tired and saying, I'm going to go back to my hotel room and fall asleep. And instead, he goes back to the hotel room, sorts all his cards, builds this absolutely ridiculous deck, and brings it out and plays it all night. So he got hooked. That's one thing. my lady, who has pretty much no interest in card games, she played Magic years ago, but since then hasn't really felt like playing any of them. She enjoyed playing this game so much that on Saturday night, she started hassling me. Go get us some product open. Get them to give us something so we can crack it open. And she spent hours building her deck and actually played in the constructed event on Sunday. So ultimately, the game got its hooks into all of us. I took it down to the game store last night just to let some people try it out because I have a starter kit that will help, new people get into it. Actually, speaking of which, I got it right here. So this is basically straightforward. If you already know Magic, you're going to have no problems understanding this game. You've got a red, big, beefy dragon deck. Take your opponent's guys and throw them into a meat pot. You've got a blue. I'm going to try and manipulate around and just kind of skis into a win without the biggest guys, but with tricky little maneuvers. So if you know Magic the Gathering, you're going to have a super easy time with this. It is impressive how quickly people pick up this game. When you look at things like, let's say, for example, Grand Archive, that's a great game, but it takes a while to wrap your head around it. When I actually went to my first event for that, I had to have my opponents explain to me, I don't feel like I'm quite playing this game right. But with Wonders of the First, the onboarding is super fast to the point where somebody actually described it last night as incredibly intuitive. And it was fun to watch him in the first couple turns to be like, okay, can I do this? Can I do this? And then by the time we're making it to the seventh turn, he's like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take that, I do this, I do this, I do this. He was basically almost vibrating with excitement. So this game is genuinely enjoyable. I agreed to work with them, but under the stipulations that I essentially have no restrictions in terms of what I can say about them. So if you actually go and check out the 2-hour live stream I did talking about the game when I came back, you can see that I definitely had some criticisms that I leveled, and the team is really cool about taking feedback. In fact, in the first event that I played in, I talked with Tinsman about one aspect of the rules that looked like it needed to be changed based on the way people were playing, and he's already instituted that change. But ultimately, the game is very solidly put together. The actual existence event, the Shattering is what it was called, was phenomenal. Everybody was having a great time. This was their first chance to get their hands on the product because right now it was only available through Kickstarter. And speaking of which, actually, I have an awesome announcement to make. They have a very, very limited amount of booster boxes of this set. So on April the 3rd, starting at 1:30, I'm going to be doing a live stream with Brian Tinsman. He's going to be coming on the channel. We're going to do it here talking about this game, and for a very brief period of time, you will be able to get one of the Kickstarter boxes, because what happened is this game had a bit of some hiccups when they were first getting things rolling, and they weren't able to release in the time frame that they wanted to. And so normally when you back a Kickstarter, you cannot get a refund, but these guys want people to be happy. So they said, you know what? We are going to refund you. And as a result, they have a small amount of these boxes left. And they've said they're going to make them available specifically during that live stream. Now, the deal is they don't want to undercut any of their Kickstarter backers. They want to make sure that they're treating them properly. So these boxes will go at the same rate that is the market value for them. But as an added bonus, they're going to throw in the starter kit right here, the 2-player kit that comes with 2 booster packs. And as well, they're going to throw in a Kickstarter playmat. So that will be, again, April 3rd. And the stream's going to start at 1:30. They will go on sale at 2 o'clock. This is Eastern Standard Time. And there's pretty much nowhere else you can get this stuff, right? You might be able to find a bit of it on eBay. The only way to get it is either through the sale that I'm doing here or by finding somebody who already has it and convincing them to sell it to you. And I had multiple of my fans actually show up to the existence event, the Shattering, and snag up some of the product themselves. And the reviews they've been giving it are totally through the roof. They're very happy. The one guy, Baba, actually went and said, okay, look, man, I got to find myself some boxes. I got to get something. So he managed to talk somebody into selling him 1 booster box. So the sale they're doing is a limit of 1. You're only able to buy 1 booster box during that live stream and get the bonuses thrown in as well. I recommend, if you're interested, to grab it because this stuff is super limited to start with, and it is a super fun game. The team behind it is incredibly solid. I spent a bunch of time with them on different levels, doing different things, playing the game, learning the rules, going out for dinner, and the whole environment, it basically felt like, you ever go to summer camp or something like that? You ever go on some kind of vacation and you meet people and you've genuinely made friends and you don't want to leave? That's how I felt when I was going to leave. It was all hugs. It was amazing. I got along well with everybody there, and it turns out that a bunch of them were already fans of my channel. The guy who makes the game, the guy who owns the game, literally was like, okay, I've been watching you since before I even created this game. Having you come down has been a big deal for me. I've already been invited to the next Shattering event, which is happening near the end of this year. So I will be returning to America, and they're going to have a special dinner with me and Brian, and me and Tinsman as the special guests. So you guys can come down to the event early, a day before it even starts, and you can hang out with me and Tinsman, the guy who designed this game, and a bunch of Magic sets, and have an awesome time. And speaking of which, just so you know, he hooked me up. Tinsman hooked me up with a piece of Magic art that you can't see anywhere on the internet. It's from a Magic set that never got released. It's an original painting, and one day soon, I'm going to reveal it to the world. And that was just a tiny little drop in the bucket. So, when it comes down to it, Wonders is doing a lot of things right? They've literally taken somebody who has a ton of game experience with Magic the Gathering, turned them loose. He literally battles for the game. When it comes to Wizards of the Coast, it goes like this. The people at the top say, jump, and the employees in the lower levels jump. There is no argument. You do what you're told, and you march in lockstep with them, right? When it comes to Wonders of the First, Tinsman, the designer, and Jeff, the guy who owns the company, butted head over particular aspects, and Tinsman said, no, this is what's best for the game, and that's what they went with. They have the right attitude in terms of letting people do what they need to do. So they have brought me on board. I'm super excited about it. The entire concept where they have the lore aspect saying, hey, you know what? We're actually going to have fans able to gain the rights to characters and design the lore for them. We'll have our canon lore, and it will intermingle. So it's kind of like the early Legends days, where basically a bunch of the characters were designed around the people who were making the cards D&D characters. So they have this extra level of lore. Instead of throwing their IP aside and saying, we're just going to go ahead and make it Final Fantasy, we're going to make it Avatar, we're going to make it SpongeBob, we're going to dilute our identity into nothing, you have a situation where instead everybody's coming together to help do world building. And so it creates a different level of engagement. Just look at how hyped I am. They didn't say, hey, can you please go make a video hyping the game? They said, hey, can you please go and share your genuine thoughts on the game? So if you remember some of my earliest Magic videos, you might remember this level of excitement about things that Wizards of the Coast was doing. But unfortunately, Wizards of the Coast feels more and more like they just want to take advantage of us, charge us ever spiraling prices, not deliver on card quality, not deliver on lore, and it's ultimately, they just seem like they're starting to exist more and more to support the collapsing empire of Hasbro than anything else, where Wonders is about crafting an actual game experience, bringing in the world building, getting people hyped and excited, and there's some partnerships that they're talking about. We'll see how it pans out. Obviously, right now, we're at the beginning steps, but this is something I would genuinely love to see grow further and further. And the more card games that come along like this, the more Wizards is going to have their market share eaten out from under them. Because understand, them running around to different IPs is them scrambling. This is a desperation move where they're like, we can't do what we're doing anymore. We can't be what we were. We have to change into something that's not even us. So ultimately, The team for Wonders is awesome. The game itself is surprisingly engaging. I never thought that it would bring Carly around and she would be, let's go, sort the cards. I want to build decks. I want to play. When I went down to the game store last night to play, she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm coming too. And she was showing other people how to play the game. Me and her played. I played against other people. She played against other people. And we just wanted to stick around and keep playing. It's absolutely a super enjoyable game. So if you're interested in it, like I said, I've got a 2-hour live stream where I went over more details about my trip. I talked about the game more, including some of the hilarious mess ups that they made for their first pre-release event, which I have to chuckle because I have run hundreds and hundreds of Magic tournaments, tons of pre-releases. So it's kind of funny to watch the growing pains of a new company. So I'm not here saying they're perfect. I'm not here saying that they're not going to make mistakes, but I am saying I'm 100% on board. I'm super excited about it. We'll be doing that super limited edition sale coming up again, April 3rd. 1:30 is when the stream starts. 2 o'clock is when you can grab the stuff. You can only get one box, and I can't say that everybody who wants one will even be able to get one. So if you want to be in on that, make sure you mark it down on your calendar. We're going to have a hype time talking with Brian Tinsman. I am just super excited. I am happy to be this enthused about a card game. And actually last night I had a booster box of Tarkir and we were supposed to be cracking packs of that, which we did, but I just ended up talking about Wonders more and more. And speaking of that, I'm going to be doing an interview with Capricorn over on his channel talking about my experience with the game, my experience at the Shattering. It's going to be a good time. So you're going to want to check that out as well. I'll make sure to let you guys know when that interview goes live because at the time of recording this video, that hasn't happened yet. But to sum it up, as a case study, Wonders is doing a lot of things right. And that's what it takes for a game to survive and come up out of the TCG sludge. Because the reality is, Wizards of the Coast has made a ton of money over the years, right? And companies see the success of Wizards of the Coast, of the Pokemon Company, and things like Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, and go, yo, I want a piece of that pie. I want to make some of that cheddar. And most of them turn out to be not worthwhile. They have all kinds of different choices they've made that don't lead to an end quality product. But Wonders has the right kind of gameplay that you can get into, understand, hit the ground running, and you will definitely want more. Like the people that I played it with definitely wanted to play more afterwards. They were immediate. I've only played one game, and I actually really like that. Some games you have to play multiple times to really get into. So they've nailed it on that front. The whole world building thing where everybody can have a hand in it is definitely something very interesting that I haven't seen in a long time. If any of you remember the old Legend of the Five Rings card game, they had a situation where as a group, you could actually influence what was going to happen with the different clans, right? So you could go, I'm part of the Phoenix clan, and based on the way things went in particular tournaments and other aspects of the game, it would genuinely influence the story of the game. And as somebody who loves lore, I have my own lore channel, this concept for this game is super exciting. I literally have my own character now that I'm going to get to help to form the lore around, and my imagination has been super fired up. So I'm just happy right now to be this excited about a card game. I really want them to succeed, and I really want to be a part of this going forwards. Will they last the long term? The future is unclear. Nobody knows for sure, but I really want them to, and I recommend that you guys check the game out as well. It's obviously up to you, but I appreciate you coming to hear my thoughts on it. And if more games like Wonders do show up, this will mean bad news for Wizards of the Coast because they are the big king at the top of the hill. But ultimately, sometimes what happens with kings is once they were big, beefy dudes who worked out and earned their place, and sometimes those kings get lazy and fat and sit on their thrones going, I'm the king, I deserve to rule because I'm the king, not I'm the king because I prove it time and time again. So this isn't me saying that Wonders is going to dethrone Magic the Gathering. This isn't me saying that I'm going to change my channel into being a Wonders channel because I'm not. Magic the Gathering is still my favorite card game, but they've done a bunch of things over the years that I really don't like. I don't like the direction they're going in, and I do like the direction that Wonders is going in. So as far as I'm concerned, there's room in my heart for them as well. Magic the Gathering is like my wife, but she's been acting up. And Wonders, oh, that's like my sweet new girlfriend, and I just want to go, I love you, honey. That's where I'm at right now. So I will be live over on my live stream channel tonight. You're welcome to come by and talk to me about this. You can talk to me about Magic. You can talk to me about your dog. Tell me it's your birthday, whatever you want to do. I'm in a great mood. So thanks for coming by, my friends. Big shout out to my patrons. You guys rule. And I will see you all for the next video, which I believe will be the Monday ban announcement. But goodbye for now.